My
Public.
Better Mean Well cup.
Better mean well.
Yeah.
All right. This meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Welcome,
Here
everybody.
we are. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Thriving Live. Hi, Dan Ruderman. Nice to have you with us again,
I get well, Santa.
live in person.
It's a pleasure to be here
That's awesome.
and with all of you.
Yeah, with all of you. Let's go. Don't eat your fingers. There's the heat. I'm in the mail. So distracted right now.
Maybe a grounding would be a great way to start Thriving Live on Tuesdays
That's usually how we
at
start.
2:00.
Everything was a little bit thrown off because it's past 2, but we can still do the grounding and the pleasure first. There's no limit to when we can do that.
There's no waiting in aisle 2, which has got grounding and pleasure first in aisle 2. No waiting in aisle 2.
Okay. So let's do it. Let's settle in. Let's get present. Let's just focus first on taking a couple of slow breaths in and just letting them go naturally. Another easy, simple breath. One more, you are welcome to sigh on the exhale. Now getting present with just paying attention to what we are able to hear in our space in this moment. It could be the big noises, noticing what we notice, just using our ears. Outside noises, my voice, traffic, an air conditioner, whatever the things are, just noticing them.
Birds, car horns,
Chatter in my mind. Just accepting it all, just allowing it to be there. We're just noticing them without judgment. Now notice any more subtle sounds you might be able to hear now that we're beginning to tune in. Can you hear your breath? Can you hear your heartbeat? Now notice what you're feeling using your sense of touch. Notice where your hands are resting, where your bottom is resting, where your feet. Just noticing the surfaces that are meeting your skin, your body. Noticing whatever sensations are there at that location where one body part is touching something else. Noticing the more subtle things as well. What you're feeling inside. My blood pulsing, my heart pulsing, beating. My breath, my lungs. Again, just noticing without any kind of judgment, just an awareness. So we've used our hearing, We've used our feeling sense. Let's use, even with our eyes closed, our sight. What are you able to see? If your eyes are closed, what are you able to see against those eyelids? There might be a shaft of light or patterns. If you have your eyes open, you can just let them rest on whatever it is you have in front of you without any judgment or thought or getting attached to any judgment or thought. Just noticing. Now move on to sense, using your touch, your sense of smell. What are you able to pick up in the air with your scent, with your nose? I'm smelling the sage I was just burning. What are you smelling with your nose? And now with the sense of taste, notice what taste you're able to pick up in your mouth. What is there that you might still taste, or if there's nothing to taste, just noticing the nothing, the no flavor taste. Now in your mind, you can repeat these affirmations if they speak to you, if they seem real to you right now. I am safe here in this moment. I am safe here in this moment. I am safe here in this moment. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. And in your heart, if you can, find it within your heart to send out love towards someone you love, if that is available to you. Sending love out to somebody that you do love or have loved. It could be an individual, it could be a group of people, it could be people who love you and support you. It could be a community that you're part of. Sending all those people some of your love from your heart. And knowing and feeling that when you do that, you're also receiving love back. What you're putting out there, the love you're pouring out, comes back to you and will be reflected back to you. Especially if you carry that out into your day and have that be an energy that you carry with you wherever you go for the day. Sending out love and appreciation to the people you meet on the street, to the people you know and love. Maybe use it to fuel a phone call or an email to someone that you haven't reached out to. So let them know that you love them in a while. See what happens. See what comes back to you. See how your heart feels when this is your practice. Experiment with it today. Report back into us on the channel, on the YouTube channel. I would love to hear what happens for you in that experiment. How are you feeling?
Much better, thank you.
Me too. Thank you. So I never really know what pleasure first I'm going to do. And often, like with the last time you were on, I just sprang you with the request to like lead us through a pleasure first. And you did. And so we always just go with what comes in, right? Like trusting that what comes in is perfectly okay for that moment. And as usual, I'm like debating, like, should I go on and just say all the things that I want to say that are on my mind to say at this very moment? Or should I look at my list and see, no, this is perfect. I'm there. We are doing all the things that are in the format. We did the intro. This is Thriving Live with Gabrielle, Tuesdays at 2. You can always come on live with us on a Zoom call. If you register once and you have access to all the calls that are scheduled on Zoom, Tuesdays at 2 on Eastern time. And to register for those, you just go to bit.ly/Thriving Live, all one word. So bit.ly/Thriving Live, all one word. Because we're going to continue doing these in this format as far as we know, until we decide that we're going to do something different. And whenever possible, Dan will join me, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun to have you on.
So this is your show, and you do it every Tuesday, 2 o'clock. Thriving Life Tuesdays, TLTT. Thriving Life Tuesdays at 2.
Yeah.
And now you can talk about all the things because you did your whole intro.
Yeah. So all the things, and actually the thing that in particular prompted that little pleasure first practice, or especially the end part where it's like, what if your practice for today, you experimented with sending out love and seeing what comes back to you. And gosh, there's so much I want to say about this, but I'll just try to limit it to one thing. So I recently came across a person that I've known here in the Berkshires for probably at least 20 years, 25 years maybe. And we had a chance to stop and catch up for a moment. And I said, how are you doing? And she said, oh, it's been a really rough 6 weeks. Oh, it's been a really rough time. I was like, oh, do you want to say more? What's going on? And then she named a whole bunch of things like relationship and health and war. I don't remember specifically, it could be family. It doesn't really matter what the things were, but what was really interesting for me to notice is that it was practically the identical conversation I had with her the last time I spoke with her, which was at least 6 years ago.
Wow.
And pretty much identical to the first conversations I ever had with her 10 or 20 or 25 years ago. And so that just kind of confirmed my belief. And I guess, there's some pretty strong science that backs this up as well, that what we think and what we believe, we are actively creating, and creating a reflection of that in our lives, right? So just like that big learning I had with my spiritual mentors, Guy and Elon Ferdman, when they said, Gabrielle, if you're identifying as a survivor, what does a survivor need to prove herself right? What does your ego need in your life in order to prove constantly that you're a survivor? Ah, shit, I need shit to survive. I need crisis. I need chaos. I need all the things to prove that I can survive it.
Mm.
And then once I realized that, I was like, oh my God, I need to stop telling that story, stop identifying that way. And then to have this person, to bump into her just a few days ago, and to find that she is still in crisis, she is still, again, having trouble. I wonder if she's ever once stopped telling that story to herself over and over again. And if there's a way, if what worked for me for stopping that cycle of chaos and all kinds of stuff to survive, if that could work for her.
Mm.
And I wish that I had a magic wand and I could just have it become an awareness without having to say it per se, or to train someone to do that or help them learn how to do that. But there isn't a magic wand that does that. But
No.
wow, surreal.
Plus consent.
Right, consent, of course.
You'd have to ask their consent. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like you're saying if they dug deep into it, they might not want things to be different. But to some part of them is like, oh, I live in this constant crisis mode, or this constant, boy, the last 6 weeks have been miserable. I've got this and this and this and this, right?
Yeah.
It's like some people are like that with their relationships, right?
Yeah.
They're always complaining about their other one. It seems to change more when there's a marriage involved, because you don't often hear it with girlfriend, boyfriend type situations. But there's some people like that with their life. Oh, I'm always in crisis mode. The pets, the parents, the kids, the house, the job,
Right.
Something is always going wrong. And that's sort of part of how they navigate. Maybe they define themselves as adept at crisis.
Right. I mean, there's something to be proud of for that skill and ability, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that serves us in a lot of ways. I mean, speaking for myself, I can say that being in crisis mode or in survival mode for much of my life, that gave me permission in my mind to not do other things or not show up more powerfully in other places, because I always had the excuse I'm just dodging bullets here, or
right.
I'm just waiting, the rug's getting pulled out from under me all the time. So therefore I'm not
right.
going to write that thank you note, or, update my website, or whatever the things are that need to get done. So it's not easy. It's not an easy practice to.
Maybe it's a little bit addiction to the adrenaline and to the emotions too.
Yeah.
That could be a thing too, where it's the loving the feeling of getting through each one. That's a pretty heady feeling, right? Like, oh, I made it. I got through another one.
I pulled another rabbit out of the hat.
Yep. Dodged another bullet, got the milk and the gas.
Yeah.
Cleaned up the flooded stuff, only lost a little bit, did the tag sale, got the divorce, changed the job. The boss didn't find out about the stuff I didn't do, whatever it is, right? The pets survived, the pets didn't survive, whatever it is, there's a little bit of that accomplishment sense and a relief. And maybe it's, what's that drug? What's the one in your body that's not good? Oxytocin, right? Is oxytocin a good one? Or is oxytocin the bad one? Cortisone is the stress
and the
one. So
adrenaline,
it's that
adrenaline and cortisol.
people, and if you wonder if people are addicted to cortisone and stuff, just take a look at their coffee habits and their Red Bull and Monster drinks and all the hyping
like
fluids that they
Yeah.
do all the time to increase that heart rate. And maybe there's a little bit of that in our lives too, when people are in that mode.
Yeah, and there's like habit, there's addiction, there's learning,
Right.
there's also resistance. Like I was really resistant and actually, frankly, really annoyed to anyone who would say like, how does this serve you, Gabrielle? How is this role as a survivor or even as a victim earlier? How is that serving you? And I'd be like, what are you talking about? That doesn't serve me at all. And then like later learning like, oh yeah, in all these ways, I could use it as an excuse to not do X, Y, or Z, or to not be further along in my journey or in my career or whatever it was. So, and that took a lot of effort to like get out of those habits and to change my thinking. And I still have to do it every single day. Different things, different levels, but still a practice, especially when things are difficult, like difficult things, like in real life, right? Not that the other things were also not in real life, they were in real life, but not self-generated, let's say, external things, right?
Mm-hmm. Such as doing that website. It's one of the ones you said before. What? You said something about doing your website, or that's why you don't do the website because you're dodging a bullet, or that's why you don't send a thank you note.
Yeah. No, what I mean is, or what I was meaning to say is that it can be really challenging to shift one's thoughts, like to go from something like, oh, my life is, it's been so difficult. There are all these things going wrong. I've had this problem here, 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 and here, like this person did, right? And then to slow down enough in the moment to take a break and say, like, what is good in your life right now? Even if you can't balance out the things that are bad right now in the life, in one's experience, just like doing a search, like what's good right now in my life.
Like a little bit of a gratitude practice.
Yeah, gratitude practice is fantastic.
I'm always wondering what's that way in to people that are sort of in an intractable loop.
Yeah.
Or a seemingly intractable loop. And I think gratitude might be the simplest way. And although I have resisted gratitude and been with people who resisted gratitude. So what are you grateful for in your life right now? Fuck you and your fucking gratitude.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And then, or like, oh, this is so stupid. Because then if you have to help somebody get into gratitude, easily go, well, like, did you sleep in a bed last night? Yeah, but that's stupid. Like, I don't have to be grateful for that. Like, well, it's not a bad place to start.
Right.
Because there are people that aren't sleeping in beds, or they're not sleeping in their own beds, or they're sleeping in beds that are something wrong with them,
right?
Or they're sleeping in beds but getting woken up by pets, cats, leaky roofs, partners, children, kids,
all the things,
neighbors, alarms. So just I slept in a bed last night.
Right.
I woke up comfortable.
I have water, fresh water I can drink.
Yeah. And that might seem kind of obvious, but it's nothing wrong with starting with the things that we really are grateful for. And I've got very dear friends who will come with one variant or another of any day on this side of the dirt is a good day.
Wow.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, that is a good place to start. If you have to get right down to it, are you breathing? Yes. Right. Great. Are you breathing poorly? Sure, but I'm
still
breathing.
Alive, right?
So, yeah. We can always, and so gratitude's kind of a gentle way to get into opportunities, to provide opportunities to get out of the loop.
Yeah.
Of victim or survivor or
a negativity loop,
or a crisis leader, or just Debbie Downer kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wanting to come up with another non-gender solution for that
I'm
phrase.
sorry that I said Debbie Downer. It's a Saturday Night Live character.
I know.
A specific
It's okay.
character, but it could be Bobby Bummer if you prefer. Non-gendered Bobby could be a boy or a girl or non-binary.
Yeah, so that negativity loop and coming out of that slowly in any way possible, even starting with the bare minimum, like
Yeah.
you said.
Gratitudes, 5 gratitudes.
Yeah.
Anytime things are bad, think of 5 things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for that. I got here a little bit late and my lover had poured a glass of water for me. And it might even have like lemon or something and it tastes really good. Or maybe it's just stale and it tastes good, but it tastes good. And so I'm grateful for that and for being able to sit in a nice chair with the window open and listen to birds singing outside and to be able to be with people far and wide through the medium here. And I'm grateful that I had breakfast with a friend this morning, with 2 friends. I had
Yeah, I
breakfast
was
with a
there
friend
too.
and a lover.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
really lovely.
And it was really nice. So I have lots to be thankful for.
Yeah, me too. So we had some fun on Friday. Speaking of like
We did, what did we do?
positive vibes and serendipity and surprises and state of mind, really. So do you want to tell the story or do you want me to?
Where do you want to start the story? Because it's a big story. So we got invited a few weeks ago
Right.
to go to a concert.
Yes. A Dead and Company concert.
Yeah.
At Bethel Woods, which is evidently the original site for Woodstock. And I've never been to a Grateful Dead concert when there was the full Grateful Dead. And I've never been to Woodstock and I've never been to a Dead and Company concert.
And we got invited by a dear
This
friend.
this guy's been to loads and loads and loads of them.
Mostly Grateful Dead. Only, I think, one of each incarnation. Further and the other ones, and now Dead and Co. So my second Dead and Co.
Okay.
With John Mayer and company.
So we were invited to go with some friends and they provided us with, so they gathered together a group of 6 people. And the 6 of us happened to have been in Antarctica together on that same trip that we've spoken of before.
So it's like a penguin reunion. We call
Yeah.
ourselves penguins, everybody that was on the Antarctica trip.
Yeah. And so that was really fun. So we had this special like van or bus fitted out for parties, although, yeah, like you'd see maybe for a prom party or something, although it wasn't fully equipped, but they brought amazing food and we had beverages and stuff.
He rented the van with a driver.
Yeah, with the driver.
So somebody drove us to the concert and they were gonna wait and pick us up and drive us back home. So we could do whatever we wanted to. Nobody had to drive.
We could all still be
hang out,
social. It was so cool. And so, but here's the best part of the story, because you don't need all the details, but talking about serendipity and surprises, right? And state of mind. So we're about halfway there. It's like a 2.5-hour drive, maybe out there from the Berkshires. And we had to stop for a bio break, for a pee break. And so we stopped off, our driver just pulled off and went into a station. And then we discovered they didn't have bathrooms for public use. And they said, well, there's another station up the street on the left. They have bathrooms. So we went up there and they also.
And we went to the station on the right. And parked, and he took us to the station on the right, not the one that was further on the left. So he took us to the wrong gas station.
Right. It was on the left.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it also didn't have restrooms for the public, but they told us inside the deli behind us has bathrooms so you can use them. We're like, okay, great. Let's just get this done so we can get back on the road because this is taking longer than expected. And we're already running a little bit late. So we go into the deli and we picked up some water and we started making our line for the bathroom. And this really young person comes in with a cool little bucket hat and a Grateful Dead shirt. and she's, saying something to the deli people. And then these guys start asking like, oh, are you going to the, well, what, I don't remember. How did that start?
It came out to be, are you going to the concert?
And she's like, what concert? And
Like,
they're like, tonight, now,
Dead
it's
and
happening.
Co.
We're
And
on
she's
our
like,
way.
when? It's like, tonight, where? Bethel, where's that? It's just down the road.
And we're like, do you want to come? Want to join us? And she's like, yeah, I do. And she's like, but I have this Grubhub order to deliver, but I'll be back in 12 minutes. Can you wait that long? And we're like, yes, definitely, we'll wait that long. So that was so awesome. We got an extra person to come with us. She got a free ticket, a free seat on the bus. And then there were so many amazing connections with her in terms of what she's up to in the world and where she's been. And so it was just a lot of fun for all of us.
It really was.
It was just like the idea of just being open and generous and willing to flow in the world,
Yeah.
right? Just
So
like all
nice.
kinds of good things happening. And that was like the coolest thing about that whole thing for me is that I've had so many of those experiences, like, and she's what, 19, Noria?
Yeah.
And I just remember so much of my life going like that, like in Europe and Copenhagen and stuff like that.
Things just
I would
going
just-
well when you're in the flow.
Yeah, it's like, I
when
want to go
you're-
see this concert. I'm getting on a train. I don't know anybody in Copenhagen. I have no idea where I'll stay, but I know it's all going to work out. And
Yeah.
I get on a train and it all works out. And I'm still friends with the people I met and stayed with. And, so it was like exactly that kind of fun, delicious moment and
Yes.
experience.
So that when you're thriving and trusting and grateful,
Mhm.
it's not just a difference in your own life, it makes a difference in all the lives around you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see the difference it makes, and sometimes it ripples out, and it's a difference further out along the ripple stream.
The
But you
ripple
can,
stream.
yeah, but you can be confident that it's happening.
Yeah.
It's really nice,
cool,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think? Anything else you want to add? Or
No, I think it's, I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it, but I've been accused of being a lyrics guy, and this is a Grateful Dead story, so it fit in with a whole bunch of Grateful Dead stories, which is, we asked, do you have a ticket? No. Well, do you need a miracle? Yes. Well, here's your miracle. We have a ticket, and not only that, but we have a bus. Right. So a bus came by, and she got on. It was Cowboy Grant was at the wheel, and it was a bus to Never Never Land. Off we went, seeing how strangers were just stopping strangers just to shake their hand, and everybody was playing in the Heart of Gold band. I was a little bit hesitant to see the show because they could, I wasn't sure I would enjoy the music. I wasn't sure it would feel like a nostalgic cover band, sad sack kind of a thing, but the band was amazing. My colleagues and compatriots were amazing. I think I was on my feet most of the time dancing. Our seats were terrific.
Oh, we had amazing
The
seats.
band was great.
Yeah.
And everybody that was, one of the things I enjoyed was it's a place where people make eye contact with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's not
Everybody
not
there.
always the case. Like a lot of places I go, I've been with friends, and you'll always make a point of reminding me that when we toast and cheers glasses, that you should look at each other's eyes while you do that. And I'll forget to do that sometimes because I'm a klutz and I don't want to smash the glasses. But just out of habit, I won't even make eye contact at a small dinner party with people over a toast. And here I am with 16,000 tie-dye bespeckled deadheads everywhere, and everybody, as you walk along, everybody's making eye contact, everybody's smiling, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah, it was really great. Great environment, great
Yeah.
experience all around.
And tiring.
Definitely tiring.
Yeah. So I slept
Definitely tiring.
very deeply in the next morning, and but it was nice. And now we're friends with Noria, and her goal in life is to be the Secretary General of the United Nations. So as a friend of mine said,
and so
even the current Secretary General was 19 once. So it's entirely in the world of productivity
right.
that she could be that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that was super fun.
Yeah.
That was really super fun.
And I also got to deepen my connection with Jonathan and Brianna on the bus
Yeah.
a little bit more. And
Me with Mark. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Jonathan and Brianna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I'm so grateful. It was such a delight.
So I count that as a good night and a good experience and a good representation of when things are all going well in the world. Thriving.
There we are, thriving.
Baby.
Yeah, so exciting. So any tools or tips that you'd like to share today on today's show?
It's funny that you're just saying that to the computer screen, but it's almost as if you're asking
I
me.
know, it's like I'm looking in a mirror because I see you there on the screen, and so I get to look at you and say that to
So
you.
you're asking me if I have any tools
I'm not
or
asking
tips?
you, listener. Do you have any tools or tips that you'd like to share on this
But if you do,
call?
you
But
can
if you
type them
do,
in,
please
yeah.
put them into the YouTube.
So do I have any tools or tips for thriving that I want to share? Is that what
Yeah.
you're asking?
Sure.
Be with
Mindset
good
or anything.
people.
Yeah.
Be with
That's a good
people that are your equals or betters, and whatever that means to you. Betters isn't like a judgment per se, although it's a discernment, right?
Yeah.
And when I call in the 4 directions often, or I'm at ceremonies with that, we think about the West as a place where we bring in discernment and judgment, and it's a place of alchemy where you make changes. So by associating as much as possible people that are on your level in some area of your life or better, it means that the group is always lifting itself up.
Right.
And everybody's up leveling. And that's a great way to be resourced, to get more skills, to be more in tune, to build community. And that makes you more resourced for also being able to help and lift other people up when that's the right thing to do. And it's always the right time to help others, but it doesn't work if you're not coming from a resource space and you're not also in a group that lifts you up.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. I spent many, many years volunteering a lot, but from an empty cup, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which anyone who's done that, which is probably the majority of people I know, you can burn out really quickly with that and give more than you can comfortably give. So that's a great point. And so what are some of the things you do, Dan, to resource yourself?
What are some of the things I do to resource myself? Well, I'm a sloucher by habit. So whenever I notice it, I straighten myself out and sit up tall. A friend of mine is going to start an online 6-week Kriya course soon. So I'm going to participate in that. And then he's going to be coming east and teaching in my house in September.
That's awesome.
And one of the things that I learned, or we relearned in Boulder a few weeks ago, was breathing exercises. And I think that was our pleasure first last week, was that one, that big clearing breath.
That's right.
So those are the things I find the fastest to do. The other things that resource me are taking walks, and we got a nice walk out in nature yesterday. I also like to cook outside, and I got to do that this weekend. I got to grill zucchinis and onions and portobellas and everything and even fish, and it was so good. I just do it. I heat up charcoal in a chimney with newspaper underneath, so no chemicals. Heat the charcoal up and then cook on top of that, and it always feels nice. And yesterday when I went to do it, I startled myself by startling the mother deer and her fawn, who both leaped and ran away from me about 100 to 150 feet and then stopped and looked back at me. And Mama's got these great big ears. She's got she's such a small head and these big ears.
And the big eyes.
I'm like, hey, sorry to disturb you. I'm just going to be over here doing some stuff for a while. And then they settled down and kind of walked around for me.
That's so sweet.
So I think that's I like the cooking. I like being outside. I like walking. I like seeing nature. I like seeing the animals.
Breathing exercise.
I'm a fan of breathing.
Breathing is really useful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, besides just keeping us alive, but also just the grounding capacity that it has when we're intentionally taking longer breaths to just cool ourselves down, to calm ourselves down.
Oh, and you did something a few weeks ago, maybe it was, which I call it the almost immediately calming breath, which is, I think, in 4, out 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I find I can do that very easily in many situations.
Yeah.
Just breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for a count of 6. And that takes about 2 breaths before I'm calmer.
Right, right. And also doing that kind of mindful, like, what am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? What am I tasting? What am I smelling? Just
Mhm.
again, to get like present with the moment and yourself and how you're experiencing things. That's really helpful to me.
Is that one of your practices? Because, I was just getting ready to say, so what do you do to grind yourself? Also, by the way, when we're alone, grinding is kind of nice to do too.
Yes, it's true. I won't disagree with that. And yes, I do the grounding. I do the breathing exercise to ground myself. I journal often to just sort of process out a bunch of things. If I'm really challenged with something, I'll sometimes do the tapping, the emotional freedom technique. And that's really helpful. Especially if I'm having trouble with like moving a thought. So like what we were talking about earlier is like the changing the state of mind or the way we think about things in our life. One other, stretching, going and getting on my yoga mat and just doing some stretching, or push-ups or whatever it is, but not work. Like I'm not going there to work out. It's just like my body needs to move and I need to be in my body and feel into my body, and then I can be more present.
Oh, that's nice. And thank you for reminding me about journaling, because I did sign up for the July challenge on 750words.com. So far I've journaled every morning. I've created a morning routine, which is hot water, half a lemon in hot water. And I sit and journal for about a half an hour. And when I'm done, I'm happy to report that when I'm done, I get to make my coffee. I won't have my coffee until I've had my lemon water.
And you've written your words.
I've written my word.
That's fantastic.
So it's a great morning routine. And today I'm a little bit off. And I just realized it's because I didn't journal this morning because I got up and did some other things first. And so I've got to also have a mental note like, I'm going to journal at a different time today.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun.
I journaled when I got back here by hand, like 6 or 8 pages about the concert on Friday and a bunch of other experiences that I had there. And then I did the 750 words online, which I actually used as a space for writing and speaking affirmations, positive affirmations, things that I am creating and manifesting in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my 750 words. And I was a little bummed to see that I missed 2 days already of July, but oh well. I didn't sign up for the challenge. I was just hoping.
Then you're okay.
Yes,
and even if
no
you did,
penalty.
you're okay. Yeah.
Yes, no penalty.
Yep.
So those are some of our tools that we use for like resetting our mindset,
and
or
a specific tool
ourselves.
is 750words.com. So and we get nothing for mentioning it. It's just free online site. They'll give you your stats and word clouds.
Yeah, that's
send you
always
daily
fun.
reminders. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Any wins, insights, or learnings from today's conversation? Or
I have a learning.
You do?
I do. We need to get like a ring light or something, because as I'm sitting here watching us, I see the lights change from like a golden to a silver. See, it just turns silver again, a little gray. So we'll have to rewatch this. But the light outside changes when it's overcast, and the whole room changes. So and I don't know if the camera readjusts. So I learned that it would be nice to do something to stabilize the lighting conditions in here.
Okay.
There wasn't a deep personal learning, but it's related to having a fantastic TLT squared, because now I keep changing the name every time I come on to your show. Now it's Thriving Live Tuesdays at 2. So the T is squared at the end. Tuesdays at 2.
Yeah.
T squared.
Thriving Live.
Yes.
It's Thriving Live. It happens to be on Tuesdays at 2, and that's mainly so I could remember when it happens, because otherwise I'd be like, I don't know, is it Thursdays at 3? I
Yeah.
try to make it like work.
Anyway, so that's a learning
Phonetically.
I had. And how about yourself? Any wins, insights, or learnings?
From today's session.
Yeah.
Well, I learned that I couldn't properly get the external mic set up in time for this, and that we need to do, in addition to our lighting strategy, we can develop our microphone strategy so that you can maybe hear us better, more clearly.
So you might not see it in the screen next time, but we're going to be using this awesome mic. Awesome mic. Hello. It makes no difference now because it's not turned on.
Not even plugged in.
But in the future, we're going to have it right down here where you can't see it, and I'll pick up our sound better. And it's going to be awesome, and awesome for you.
So we have finished our Thriving Live for Tuesday at 2. This is episode number 16. Yeah.
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 Did you say this is
That's
episode
pretty
number
kinda cool.
16? Yeah.
I did. Because it's kind of fun. I can't believe that I've stuck with it this long. And it's getting a little bit easier, although there are some rough patches too. But anyway, that's just the way it goes. This is live.
Awesome.
So if anyone has any recommendations, suggestions, feedback, we would love to hear it. You can post it into the YouTube chat if you'd like to, or you could email me directly if you want. It's Gabrielle@morepleasureplease.com.
What a great address you have.
Thank you. It's true. And thank you for being here with me today, Dan. And
You're welcome,
um,
Gabrielle. You're welcome, Gabrielle.
thanks, Dan. All right, y'all. We are so happy to see you. Hope to see you again soon.
Bye, y'all.
And ciao.
Live your life with thriving pleasure.